The Morrigan, also known as Morrigu, is a figure from Irish mythology. Her name comes from the words mor, meaning nightmare, and riogan, meaning queen. It is often translated as Great Queen or Phantom Queen. The Morrigan is closely associated with war and fate, particularly with predicting doom, death, or victory in battle. She often takes the form of a crow, known as badb, and plays an active role in warfare by inciting warriors to fight and helping them secure victory. She encourages acts of bravery, strikes fear into the hearts of enemies, and is sometimes depicted washing the blood-stained clothes of those destined to die. While the Morrigan is best known as a goddess of battle and war, she is also seen as a symbol of the earth and sovereignty, embodying the role of protector of the land and its people. In some stories, she is described as a trio of sisters, known as the Three Morrigan. These sisters are Badba, Macha, and the Morrigan, who may also be called Anna. However, some believe that these names represent different aspects of a single goddess. The Three Morrigan are also said to be sisters of the land goddesses Eriu, Banba, and Fodla. The Morrigan's earliest narrative appearances, where she is depicted as an individual, occur in the stories of the Ulster cycle. In these tales, she has an ambiguous relationship with the hero Cu Chulainn. The Ulster cycle, formerly known as the Red Branch cycle, is a collection of medieval Irish heroic legends and sagas of the Ulaid. These stories are set in the distant past, in regions now known as Eastern Ulster and Northern Leinster, particularly the counties of Armagh, Down, and Louth. The cycle focuses on the mythical Ulster king Conchobar MacNessa, his court at Emain Macha, the hero Cu Chulainn, and their conflict with the Connachta and Queen Medb. Cu Chulainn is an Irish warrior hero and demigod in the Ulster cycle of Irish mythology. He is believed to be an incarnation of the Irish god Lugh, who is also his father. His mother is the mortal Deichtine, sister of King Conchobar MacNessa. He gained his well-known name as a child after killing Culann's fierce guard dog in self-defense and offering to take its place until a replacement could be reared. Thus, he became known as the Hound Q of Culann. It was prophesied that his great deeds would grant him everlasting fame, but his life would be short. At the age of 17, he defended Ulster single-handedly against the armies of Queen Medb of Connaught during the famous cattle raid of Cooley. He is also known for his terrifying battle frenzy, during which he transforms into an unrecognizable monster who distinguishes neither friend nor foe. The story begins when the Morrigan takes a personal interest in Cu Chulainn, perhaps drawn to his strength or sensing that his doom was approaching. She appears to him in the guise of a beautiful maiden, offering him love and protection. However, Cu Chulainn rejects her advances. Dismissing her, he declares that he needs no help from any woman, even one as beautiful as she, unaware of the danger in offending a deity. Offended by his refusal, the Morrigan vows to turn against him and interfere in his battles. As a goddess of war, she possesses the power to tip the scales of fate, often deciding the outcome of conflicts with her shape-shifting abilities. Soon after, during one of Cu Chulaann's battles, the Morrigan returns in 3 different forms to sabotage him. As a heifer, she charges at him, attempting to drive him into enemy hands. Cu Chulainn counters by wounding her with a slingshot. As an eel, she coils around his legs in an attempt to trip him during a fight. Cu Chulainn stamps on her, breaking her ribs. As a wolf, she frightens cattle, causing chaos on the battlefield. Cu Chulainn responds by slinging a stone at her, blinding one of her eyes. Despite these attacks, Cu Chulainn triumphs in battle each time, further infuriating the Morrigan. Later, as Cu Chulainn rests by a river after his ordeal, he encounters an old woman milking a cow. Unbeknownst to him, this is the Morrigan in disguise. She offers him milk as a gesture of peace, and when he drinks it, he blesses her, inadvertently healing the wounds he had inflicted on her during their earlier encounters. Although Cu Chulainn recognizes her true identity too late, the Morrigan's actions suggest that she has forgiven his previous rejection. They had shared a complex relationship, hinted at being more than adversaries, perhaps even lovers. However, shortly after this encounter, Cu Chulainn meets his end. As the goddess of fate and doom, the Morrigan knew that Cu Chulaann's death was destined to occur in the Battle of Muirthemne. Though she never reveals the exact time or place of his demise, her actions throughout the story foreshadow his inevitable fate. Before the battle, the Morrigan appears in the form of a crow, silently watching as Cu Chulainn rides into combat. It was believed that if a crow followed a warrior into battle, it was a sign that his death was near. In the Battle of Muirthemne, Cu Chulainn fights with unmatched ferocity, but the odds are overwhelmingly against him. Struck by multiple spears, he realizes that survival is impossible. Fatally wounded, he drags himself to a standing stone and ties himself upright with his own intestines, ensuring that even in death he remains on his feet, defiant and unyielding. It is only when the Morrigan, still in the form of a crow, lands on his shoulder that his enemies realize Cuchulainn has finally died. The Morrigan also appears in Cath Maige Tuired, the Battle of Mag Tuiriad. On Samhain, she meets with the Dagda before the battle against the Fomorians. When he encounters her, she is washing herself, standing with one foot on either side of the River Unius, near Riverstown in County Sligo. Some sources suggest that she created the river. After sharing an intimate moment with the Dagda, the Morrigan promises to summon the magicians of Ireland to cast spells in support of the Tuatha Dé and to destroy Indech, the Fomorian king, taking from him the blood of his heart and the kidneys of his valor. Later, she brings 2 handfuls of his blood and deposits them in the same river, though the text later states that Indech was killed by Ogma. As the battle approaches, Lug, the leader of the Tuatha Dé, asks each member what power they will contribute to the fight. The Morrigan's response is cryptic, but seems to involve pursuit, destruction, and subjugation. When she arrives at the battlefield, she chants a poem, causing the tide of battle to turn, and the Fomorians are driven into the sea. After the battle, she recites another poem, celebrating the victory and foretelling the end of the world. In another tale, the Morrigan lures away the prized bull of a woman named Odrus. Odrus follows her to the other world through the cave of Cruachan, said to be the Morrigan's proper abode. When Odrus falls asleep, the Morrigan transforms her into a pool of water that becomes part of the River Shannon. Here's one more piece of information that even Irish people may not know about. There are 2 prominent hills in the landscape of County Kerry, Ireland, called the Da Chich na Morrigan, which translates to the 2 breasts of the Morrigan. These hills are often associated with the goddess Morrigan. The 2 hills are known as Knock nan Gabhar, the Hill of the Goats, and Knock an Aonai, the Hill of the Fair. Their distinctive shapes are said to resemble a pair of breasts, which is how they acquired their name.